All right. I have a cumulative odds and ends random assortment of stuff haul for you all today. So, first of all, I wanted to show this off. This is something I typically don't show. My knife broke recently, and so I replaced it with a Cold Steel Tri-Light. I've been thinking about reviewing it, so we'll see. If you all want to see something like that, then I'll do it. Just to, do something a little different for once. Without further ado, let's get into the actual haul. We'll start with some CDs I've gotten over the last, 6 months or so. I always forget to show off CDs, so... First of all, I have Iron Maiden's Somewhere in Time. This is really one of my favorite albums. It has Wasted Years and Heaven Can Wait are the two big hits off of this album that are in the usual Iron Maiden repertoire of songs they play live. Moving on to a live album, Journey live in Houston, 1981 Escape Tour. This is a really good live album I got for $5. Really good, one of my favorite Journey albums. Moving on to The Last Jedi soundtrack. Yeah, I finally picked up The Last Jedi soundtrack. It was on sale at a store that I forgot sold CDs, so yeah. That was fun. And then the rare one of the bunch. This is the Ultimate Edition Star Wars The Phantom Menace soundtrack. This is the entire movie on 2 CDs. Which, super cool. Very hard to find. Found it for a reasonable deal. It was actually in the shrink wrap because this is from... 2009, 2010, something like that. When The Phantom Menace came out in 3D, this got released. Let's move on to a PS4 game I bought, which is Deadpool. Was looking at the Spider-Man game. I wanted to play a superhero game. Found this for $20 new, and I was like, yeah, I forgot this was a video game. It's pretty fun. Moving on to a bunch of Blu-rays I got. We'll start off with my 4K pack I got. This is the only 4K Ultra Blu-ray set I got, and this is Westworld Season 1 The Maze Deluxe Edition. Was the same price as the Blu-ray, so I picked it up in Steelbook, and we'll get disc case problems out of that at some point. Moving right along to the 30th anniversary edition of Yor, the Hunter from the Future. This movie is absolutely terrible. It's a Conan the Barbarian and Star Wars ripoff, and I think it's absolutely hilarious. Moving on to a really good movie. This is Fury. Fury came out a few years ago. It's a World War II tank. I want to say like a thriller war movie. It's really a suspenseful movie. And it's mastered in 4K, so it's a very high-end Blu-ray. Moving on to another excellent movie. This is Interstellar. Interstellar is a really good Christopher Nolan movie with some little hokey parts in it that aren't so good, but yeah. Moving on to something terrible. Hardcore Henry is a movie. If you ever wanted to watch someone film an action movie on a GoPro in a first-person perspective, this is the movie for you. If you didn't, completely skippable. I think it's a really interesting way of filming. It's terrible. It's hard to watch at times, but I don't know. Couldn't pass it up. And mind you, most of these all of the movies came out of $5 bins at stores, so, just to give you a price point. Moving on to something that I've been meaning to watch the whole thing of, and that's The Last Starfighter. Everyone recommends me watching this movie, so I finally just bought it. Next, a movie from my early days of watching horror films and Stephen King movies, and that's Salem's Lot, the original. It's a really long movie, but I think it's really well done. It's Tobe Hooper's directing. Well, can't really go wrong there. Next, another long movie, not as long, but a movie about eating stew and acting like a bunch of assholes. I'm talking about The Hateful Eight. Quentin Tarantino's eighth film, his latest film. Pretty solid. Last of the $5 bin movies is Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal, you all know I like Heavy Metal magazine. This is their 81 film. They've made 2 Heavy Metal movies. The other one's really unwatchable. It's called Heavy Metal 2000. This one, get really shit-faced and watch. You'll get something out of it that way. Otherwise, it's weird cartoon porn with a really kick-ass 80s soundtrack and some really solid animation. Next, I bought this 2-pack the other day, and that's the Kingsman 2-pack, which has the Secret Service and the Golden Circle. So, I am a fan of Kingsman: The Secret Service. I did not get to watch its sequel, but this was at a really reasonable price point, so I picked it up. Going to watch those. And lastly, for Blu-rays, I picked up, because I only own these on DVD, and I'm trying to move all my stuff to Blu-ray pretty much. I picked up seasons 1 through 3 of Game of Thrones. So that way I own seasons 1 through 7 on Blu-ray. I own pretty much the whole series at this point on Blu-ray for Game of Thrones. So, yay for consistency. So, of course, you all know that a haul isn't complete on this channel if there isn't something Star Wars. So I have some rare Star Wars books, and I say that a lot because I do end up getting some of the rarer stuff, especially in recent times of Star Wars stuff, completing runs of things. So I picked this up for 43 cents. These books are very hard to find, and this is Star Wars: The Clone Wars Secret Missions Book 1 Breakout Squadron. It's beat up, but for 43 cents I could not pass it up. These are Dave Filoni Clone Wars tie-ins that aren't really Clone Wars tie-ins. They take place during the Clone Wars. This is by Ryder Winham. And these are really hard to find for whatever reason. So that was a good find. There's, I think, 4 or 5 Secret Missions books, and that's the easiest one to find, and it's not that easy to find. So this is going to be an ongoing saga of me hunting down these books. So, I said in a previous video, I think it was within a couple hauls ago, that I had pretty much hit my hardcover. I was at a point with my hardcover Star Wars collecting that I was satisfied and really didn't need to collect any more hardcovers. Granted, there are still hardcovers out there I don't own that are Star Wars. What I have complete is the adult hardcover novels. I own all of them that were published in hardcover. I own most of the young adult stuff in hardcover that was in hardcover. What I don't own a whole lot of in hardcover is the Dark Horse Comics stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of Dark Horse Star Wars hardcovers. They came in a couple different varieties. There's the one oversized hardcover which I have, which is The Life of Luke Skywalker, which has a whole mixture of things, and it has a couple Dark Horse one-shots that were never released in anything that are in that. There's the 30th anniversary hardcover set, which I own one of. I own volume 2, which is the Jedi vs. Sith. And those would be fun to have, but it's not necessary. And then there were collection hardcovers. And these are the ones that are typically most sought after. And you've seen them. I have 2 of them. One of them is the first print of the Dark Empire trilogy. The other being the Crimson Empire saga, which has all 3 Crimson Empire stories, as well as 2 one-shots about Kirk Canos. There is a Thrawn trilogy hardcover, which I don't own because it's very overpriced, and at a time when there was a good deal on it, it was either that or Dark Empire, and I chose Dark Empire because I didn't own it, period. That was 5 years ago that I saw that in the wild. And since then, I've seen it go for like over $200. And then there's a trilogy of hardcovers that are very hard to get. And that is the Legacy hardcovers. This would be the entire Legacy comic series. So I picked up book 1, book 2, and book 3. I now own Legacy, the comic series, in hardcover. It's a very big win for me. It's something I never looked at. It was such a good deal that I couldn't pass it up. I had to get these. So yeah, that's one to check off the list of hardcovers I no longer need to get. It's a really big win for me. To my knowledge, I think I'm the only person I know who has all 3 of them. I don't really know of anyone else who collected all of them. They easily go for like $100 a piece. A lot of the time, they've been fluctuating lately. They've gone down substantially, and that's why I jumped on this. This was a lot, so I got them for a reasonable deal. It wasn't the best deal in the world, but it was something that I couldn't pass up. So yeah. Anyway, that's my haul for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. As well as I have a new memory card in there. Got a 128 gigabyte card because I ran out of room not too long ago. So, anyway, have a nice day.